Welcome back, Travel Bugs. Yesterday, which was Thursday, August 23rd, I got an email notification from DJI saying that they've introduced 2 new Mavic Pro drones. Wow. To say that that was unexpected is an understatement. When I got an email notification a few days ago saying that they had a big announcement coming, I thought, okay, maybe it's time for a new Mavic drone. But I had no clue they'd be releasing 2 of them. First, we have the Mavic Pro 2, and then we have the Mavic Zoom. What I'm going to be doing today is introducing you to them and their new features, and then comparing them and giving you my honest opinion about which one I'd actually upgrade to given my needs. All right, you ready? Let's go. So how I like to do things is just give you the meat and then give you my opinions on them afterwards. So hang tight after the spec comparison if you want to know which drone is more valuable to the type of work we do as travel bugs. So since this is a comparison, we're going to start with the differences between the 2. And those differences happen to all be within the camera and its functionality. The body of the camera, its internal storage, how it flies, and the modes it uses are all the same between the 2 new drones. So let's get to what makes these 2 drones and their cameras different. Mavic Pro 2 camera is made by DJI and Hasselblad. Hasselblad is a Swedish camera maker that is top in the industry. Many of the cameras can easily cost you the cost of a car. In contrast, the Mavic Pro Zoom camera is made by DJI alone. Now, of course, DJI has been very successful in the drone market, so it's not to say that their camera making capabilities aren't up to snuff. It's just that they've got the experience of a world-renowned camera maker at the disposal in Hasselblad for the Mavic Pro 2. Now I'll show you the difference in the cameras aren't just in the name. Next up, we're going to talk about the sensor size. The Mavic Pro 2 with the Hasselblad camera comes with a 1-inch sensor. This is almost 4 times the size of the sensor of the Mavic Zoom and its predecessor, the Mavic Pro. This means that you can capture better images overall, both photo and video, in lower light conditions. The larger the sensor, the more adept it is at taking in light. So in equal lighting conditions, you're going to be able to absorb more light and get smoother, crisper, more beautiful images with the larger sensor. Next, we have the focal length. With the Mavic Pro 2, it's 28 millimeters. There's no zoom capability on this one. However, on the Mavic Zoom, you have a 24 to 48 millimeter focal length with optical zoom. 24 will give you a wider picture, and as you zoom in, the picture will get tighter. The beauty with the zoom lens is it gives you more range creatively, so you can get more cinematic looking footage, especially since the 48 millimeter telephoto lens compresses the images. So when taking landscape photos or video with subjects in them, they will appear closer to the beautiful mountain or the amazing forest because the telephoto compresses the image. It makes everything in the image look closer together. Additionally, lossless zoom allows you to capture footage that's further away so you can fly from a safe distance from things like animals, buildings, cars, and people. None of this is possible with the Mavic Pro 2. So although it's the better quality camera, you have more versatility with the zoom lens. Since we just mentioned quality, let's get to picture quality. The Mavic Pro 2 has a 20 megapixel camera compared to the Mavic Zoom's 12 megapixel camera with the introduction of the 48 megapixel Super Res. Now the Super Res is kind of like a panorama. It's a stretch and large image, and they capture it by taking 9 photos and stitching them together with the 12 megapixel camera. If it sounds more like a novelty to you more than a really functional tool for photographers, you're on the same page as me. If you're interested in a drone that's going to be primarily used for photography, I wouldn't bet on having the 48 megapixel Super Res as your go-to. I definitely head towards the 20 megapixel Mavic Pro 2. Next up, we have video quality. And more specifically, we're going to talk about the number of colors you can capture with each camera. The Mavic Pro 2 Hasselblad's camera, you get 10-bit color. That means you're capable of capturing over 1 billion colors. Compared to the zoom lens, which is 8-bit and you can capture over 16 million. This gives you truer colors, more beautiful picture, and it makes it easier to isolate and edit those colors in post-production. There's more distinction between different shades of reds, different shades of blues, and purples. So you're able to isolate them and tweak them as you see fit. So if you're not very familiar with color technology and you saw the 8-bit and the 10-bit and thought, hey, maybe it's not that big of a difference, it's a difference between 16 million and a billion colors. Now let's talk about the difference of exposure value. You get 14 EV stops with the Mavic Pro 2 and 13 with the Mavic Zoom. Now again, this may not seem like a big difference, but when you factor in that the sensor on the Mavic Pro 2 is almost 4 times as big, it really does make a big difference between these two cameras. The aperture on the Mavic Pro 2 is adjustable manually from 2.8 to 11. This gives you a great range so that you can go to 2.8 in low lighting, and in great lighting, record at 11 so that you got smoother footage. On the Mavic Zoom, the range only goes from 2.8 to 3.8, and it's set automatically. You cannot manually adjust aperture on the Mavic Zoom like you can on the Mavic Pro 2. Now we have Dolly Zoom. This is a feature exclusive to the Mavic Zoom, which adjusts the focus while flying automatically, which gives you a warping cinematic look to your footage. It's really great with landscapes. So those are the differences between the two new drones. Let's go over them again real quick. The Mavic Pro 2 comes with a camera made by both DJI and Hasselblad, while the Mavic Zoom's camera is made solely by DJI. The Mavic Pro 2 has a 1-inch sensor, which is 4 times as large as the Mavic Zoom's and is the same size as the higher end model Phantom 4 Pro. The aperture on the Mavic Pro 2 is adjustable from 2.8 to 11. However, the aperture goes from 2.8 to 3.8 only on the Mavic Zoom, and it's not adjustable manually. For the lens focal length, we have 28 millimeters on the Mavic Pro 2 and a 24 to 48 millimeter telephoto zoom lens on the Mavic Zoom. The Mavic Pro 2 takes 20 megapixel photos and the Mavic Zoom takes 12 megapixel photos with the addition of the Super Res function, which stitches together 9 photos to make a 48 megapixel photo. That kind of rivals panoramics. Color depth is wildly larger on the Mavic Pro 2. You're able to capture over 1 billion colors thanks to a 10-bit color profile versus the 16 million colors you can capture on the 8-bit color profile on the Mavic Zoom. We've covered that there's no zoom at all on the Mavic Pro 2, but you get zoom on the Mavic Zoom, and additionally you get the Dolly Zoom, which is a very cool cinematic feature. Last but not least, for EV stops, we have 14 with the Mavic Pro 2 and 13 with the Mavic Zoom. Okay, I know this isn't a comparison between these new drones and the previous version, but I'm sure you'd like to know what they've updated since then. So I'm gonna quickly go over them, and then we're gonna get back to my feelings and thoughts of these two new drones and which ones I've used for my purposes. First of all, it has 8 gigabytes of internal storage, just in case you run out while flying, or you get it in and you want to get it up in the air right away. You can also download the footage using a USB-C straight to a computer. There are now 8 obstacle sensors on these drones, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 2 in the bottom, and 1 on each side. This makes avoiding obstacles so much more efficient, and they add added functionality to an existing feature we'll talk about in a bit. VPS, which stands for Vision Positioning Systems, allows you to hover seamlessly, even over water. It uses a combination of the camera and an infrared sensor that's on the bottom of the aircraft. Also on the bottom of the aircraft is an LED light that lights up when you're landing at night. Flight time has gone from 27 minutes to up to 31 minutes. Now, I've heard reports that they haven't been able to get 31 minutes out of it as advertised. It's more like the 27-minute range. Reports indicate that it takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes to recharge the batteries from 15% to full. As far as the controller goes, the control sticks are now detachable and they fit into a compartment that's in the controller itself so you don't lose it during transportation. They've also added a toggle switch to the side that lets you easily switch between sport, normal, and tripod mode. So remember I said the new sensors have made an existing feature more appealing, and it's Active Track. In the previous model, you set it to follow the controller so you could be in the car, but it could only follow you from the back because it didn't have sensors that allowed it to fly backwards from the front. Now with the combined 8 sensors, it can fly from multiple directions and follow you. And also, the active tracker itself is much more advanced. It can identify trackable objects like a vehicle and follow it. The next feature to get improvement is point of interest. When you set a point of interest, the drone circles it in 360 degrees. However, it used to be pretty difficult to set it. You'd have to do it manually. Now, you just simply select the object and the drone will auto-analyze it. This makes for faster and more precise use of the point of interest function. They've introduced a new feature altogether, and it's hyperlapse. You used to be able to do these with the drone, except you'd have to do it all manually. Now, you just enter the parameters and it does it for you. So we pretty much just covered all the differences between the Mavic Pro 2 and the Mavic Zoom, as well as the craft upgrades from the flagship Mavic Pro. Now to talk about how this is going to affect me. First and foremost, we never got to do a second review on the Mavic Pro. We did one initially after testing it a couple times, but over the course of the year, we've used it and found some things we liked and didn't like about it that we didn't really talk about much and share with you guys. I'm not going to get into too much detail about how we feel about the Mavic Pro, but I will talk about the differences between it and these two new drones that will affect how I purchase my next drone. If you want something that gives you more flexibility as a cinematographer, as a creator, someone who wants to play around with images, zooming in, zooming out, creating that great aspect where your subject is seeming closer to, you know, this massive mountain that now seems bigger because you've zoomed in using the telephoto lens. The zoom lens may be for those type of people. However, for users like myself and Danielle, we prefer better quality over the functionality of having to be able to zoom and things like that, because we're traveling to places where we enjoy having the landscapes behind us. We love capturing them, and the bigger sensor allows us to capture it better. What I didn't like about the Mavic Pro is, especially at night, the footage was very, very grainy. And also, the sensor was so small that even in the daylight condition, it never looked as good as, like, say, my GoPro when we used to film using the Karma drone. I want the richer colors, I want the more dynamic range, and I just want the larger sensor that's gonna allow more light in, because I think overall it'll be much more beneficial to us in the way we capture things. But if you're a filmmaker and you're really, really looking to push in, dolly in, push out, capture different perspectives of the same shot without having to move your drone to those perspectives, then the Zoom drone may be for you. Just note that there is a loss of overall quality. We're talking about a massive difference in color depth. Over 1 billion with the Mavic Pro 2's 1-inch sensor to 16 million, closer to 17 million, but still not even in the ballpark when we're talking about the comparison to the Mavic Pro 2. And remember, the differences are all in the camera. Everything else, the body, the way it flies, the modes, the controller, how it has removable control sticks, they're all the same. So it really comes down to what kind of footage you want to capture and how you want to capture it. So if you've gleaned by now that I'd go with the Mavic Pro 2 in the largest sensor, you'd be correct, but that doesn't mean it's the perfect fit. To be quite honest with you, the first thing that comes to mind is when we eventually go on the safari that we want to go to and we're flying our drone, we're only going to be able to get so close to the animals. With the zoom lens, we'd be able to stay from a safe distance and zoom in and capture them more up close. However, that's a sacrifice we will make for capturing overall much better quality footage for the day-to-day, everything else we're doing. We're not just going to get the zoom lens for, you know, the possibility of us using it during safari or something like that. We also don't shoot music videos, we don't shoot people with it. So really, for us, the travel bugs during our adventures, our beach vacations, our rustic vacations, our island vacations, the Mavic Pro 2 seems the way to go. And that's where my money is going when we decide to upgrade. The sensor on the Mavic Zoom and the Mavic Pro, they're just too small, they're not capable enough, and we need something with bigger punch because we're filming on the ground with some really good equipment. I'm filming right now with the Sony a6300, and we need something that can complement it well in drone footage. It's never fun to take amazing crisp photo or video on the ground and then add in drone footage that just isn't up to snuff. So that's it, guys. That's all I have. I really hope this helped you make up your mind. I've linked below some people who have actually had access to the drones early, so you can go check out some of the videos that they've been able to capture on these drones. Some of them even have links where you can download the footage and play with them in editing software. I didn't upload any here as respect to them because they said that they didn't want to use it for commercial use. But thank them for me for providing them, and when I'm able to get some footage that I can actually put into my videos, I will be happy to share it with you guys. Until then, please leave your comments, share this video, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys will upgrade to. Are you excited about it? Are you not? Is this more money down the drain? Let me know. Us personally, our goal is to get our hands on that Mavic Pro 2. Ciao for now, travel bugs. Thanks so much.